I'm tired of seeing the liquor store, Kennedy's, the Ox, the Chinese restaurants, Jimbo's, striving off of us as black people. We should be owning these stores. I started looking around my own neighborhood and realized how much economic activity was happening right in front of me. And I wasn't thinking about ownership. Let me correct that. Nobody was thinking about ownership of these places that we spent our money at every day. I never had that discussion with anyone I grew up with, or I never heard anyone speak about ownership in the community. Then I had to ask myself the simplistic question of how much money are these people making off of us, and how much of that money is actually coming back into the community. We know New York is a melting pot. The South Bronx, you have Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, blacks. You have all types of people. And then you have different groups that have built businesses in little pockets within the community. And shout out to the Mexicans, because in my area, they have they actually own Jimbo's, I think. But they have their own little pocket in my area. They have a few restaurants on their strip, some stores. But I'm looking around like, where all the black-owned businesses at? And when I say black-owned businesses, I mean the ones that's sitting right in front of us every single day, that our communities are constantly spending money in. So like, where is all of that money going that we spending? And this actually made me think about my bro 40, probably the most hard-headed person I know. I remember one day I asked him if he wanted something from the chicken spot. He was like, nah, I ain't fucking with them no more. And I'm like, wow. He said because they don't give back to the community. And at the time, I ain't paying him no mind. I was hungry. I'm like, all right, nigga, I'm going to get something to eat. I'm starving. But as time went on, that shit started hitting. Like, I'm thinking about what my boy said. They don't give back to the community. And I started noticing shit like, damn, they don't even offer discounts. They don't have no special Fridays or nothing. Like, they don't do shit for the community. So how the fuck are they still in business? It's because we as a whole, we think like customers. We're not necessarily lacking economic activity. There's money moving through these neighborhoods every single day. Liquor stores making money, the chicken spots making money, the laundromat is making money, and so on. So people are making money. So I don't think the question is whether money exists in our communities. The question is who owns the things that the money is flowing into. And that's where Black Wall Street came to my mind. Because before I say we should be doing this, I wanted to know, have black people actually built an economic ecosystem like this before? And yes, look at Greenwood in Tulsa, Oklahoma, what became known as Black Wall Street. I'm not bringing it up either just to say that black people supported black businesses. It was bigger than that. They had grocery stores, restaurants, hotels, doctors, lawyers, pharmacies, barbers, newspapers, everything you could think of. Churches, schools. You had business owners who weren't just sitting there running on one store. Some were invested in property, some were involved in multiple businesses. They were creating services that people in the community actually needed. That's an ecosystem, and that's the part that stood out to me. They weren't just customers, they were owners. Money could move from one black-owned business to another. Businesses employed the people. People spent their money at other businesses. Property owners collected rent. Money did leave the community sometimes, of course, but it wasn't necessarily just leaving the community immediately. And I'm not gonna sit here and romanticize Black Wall Street like everything was perfect. It wasn't. Segregation played a huge role. Black people were excluded from a lot of white businesses and institutions. So some of this economic development happened because they had to build their own. But they still built, and that's the part I'm interested in. Not the segregation, the ownership, the investment, the businesses. So the fact they was really creating shit that served each other, like, that's when I started thinking about my own neighborhood and black neighborhoods across the world. Like, what would happen if we took some of those principles and applied them today? Not trying to create 1921 Tulsa. I'm talking about the basic idea of owning. And what I mean by owning more which we already spend our money on. And that's where I think we run into another problem. It's one thing for one person to open a business. It's another thing for a group of people trying to actually build something together. And that's where the trust comes in. We don't necessarily lack the people. We don't lack the consumers. We don't necessarily lack ideas. We have a problem working together. And I think that's deeply rooted. We got people who grew up wanting to identify with their block, their neighborhood. And sometimes we're taught to look at the person next to us like competition instead of somebody we could build with. That shit is in the music we listen to. Because it's hard to build somebody you don't trust. But here's another thing. You don't have to like somebody to do business with them. I don't have to be your best friend. I don't have to hang out with you. I don't even have to agree with you on everything. If we can have a common goal, then we can sit down and make a deal. You need contracts. You need accountability. You need structure. You need to know who's putting what in and who's getting what out. That's business. You don't need everybody to love each other. You don't need everybody to honor the agreement. You need everybody to honor the agreement. But yeah, just imagine if we actually got better at that. Because I'm not saying everybody needs to pool their money together and build some giant corporation. I'm talking about starting somewhere. It can be a laundromat, your liquor store, a car wash, anything, man. A barbershop, something people already spend money on. And now, instead of only being a customer, you're an owner. And maybe that owner hires somebody from the neighborhood. Maybe that employee spends their check at another local business. Maybe that business hires somebody else. Maybe somebody takes some of that profit and buys property with it. Now you're building something that connects. That's the part we don't talk about enough because we're so used to asking how much money can I make. We need to start asking what can I own. And I'm saying this about myself too. I'm not saying, hey, like I got this shit all figured out. I'm going to be talking about a mindset I had to develop myself. I was standing outside these businesses every day, spending my money, and I wasn't thinking about ownership. But yeah, man, it's bigger than that. We keep asking ourselves, though, why don't they give a fuck about our communities? Why nobody gives back to our communities? But maybe we need to ask ourselves why we keep giving them our money. Because you can't complain about somebody owning your neighborhood and you keep on funding them. Yo, so this video actually sent me down a rabbit hole, y'all. It just started with me researching why these neighborhoods are designed the way they are and sitting on top of each other and why the communities are divided the way they are. And the more I researched, the more shit I started finding. I'm just learning about redlining, housing discrimination, and urban renewal. So yeah, lock in with me, squad.